Yeah, now I gotta take it off.
Afraid you're gonna get pizza on it?
Yes.
Can you move that box?
And cookies, huh?
Well, no. So, like, we need something.
Deal with this.
I don't know.
They
They,
didn't put the hot honey on the pizza. They
I
make
guess
hot
not.
honey pizzas.
I don't know.
Sorry.
That's
Thank
how they
you.
gave it to me, so I just rolled with it.
Okay. I'll have to put it on my own piece of pizza.
They thought maybe we didn't want it smothered.
Put it on the pizza.
I'm gonna go grab plates.
Um,
Grab them.
they got that one right.
Very salty with City Market.
Oh, why?
Because I finally get my prescription refilled and they're like, oh, we don't have any in. You're gonna have to wait till tomorrow afternoon. And I'm like, does the other City Market have any? And they're like, no, we're completely out because you're gonna have it transferred over there. But like, how do you not have any?
Was it,
So irritating.
was it a thing that they can just like not have one day, but tomorrow they'll have it?
Because they do a truck every night.
Oh,
But she's like, it'll be after lunchtime before you can pick it up. I was like,
All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order. So if we could just keep it down a little bit, and then we'll get the proclamation done quick for the hockey team, so that way they don't have to stay here forever. All right, it is April 1st, 2025. The time is 5:30 p.m. This is the City Council regular meeting. Can I get a call to order and a roll call?
Councillor Bosmans,
Present.
Councillor Youssef,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Yazzie,
Here.
Mayor Beal,
Here.
Councillor Woodruff.
Here.
Item 2, introduction of the translator. Are they online? You what? Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, it's not. Oh, yeah, here we go. Sorry. Item 1.1, reading of the Indigenous Land Acknowledgement. This is a call to honor and respect Indigenous sovereignty and self-determination. As residents and visitors of Durango, we are called upon to educate ourselves about the history and cultural heritage of the land we inhabit. The city of Durango is situated on the ancestral homelands and territories of the Nuchu, Ute, Jicarilla, Apache, Pueblos of New Mexico, Hopi-Sinam, Hopi, and Dene Navajo nations. The original stewards of this land were forcibly removed and exposed to countless atrocities by the United States government, including repeatedly broken treaties, forced assimilation, the tragic legacy of Indian boarding schools, and the loss of ancestral homelands. We recognize lasting generational trauma exists within Native communities today. We affirm the continuing importance of ancestral sites to descendant communities as integral to the living cultural landscape. This acknowledgement only becomes meaningful when combined with accountable relationships and informed actions. May this serve as a step towards inclusion and reconciliation. Excellent. All right, item 2, introduction of the translator.
Hi, my name is Liz Torres, and I am here with my colleague, B. Torres, and we will be your Spanish interpreters with the Community Language Co-op. Today, we will be using Google Meet, and to access the language, you can go to the More menu and then Language and Speech and select the interpretation language. And if you have any issues, you can add them on the chat. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Liz Torres y estoy aquí con la Cooperativa Comunitaria del Lenguaje, al igual que mi colega B. Torres, y estamos aquí porque hoy todos tenemos derecho a hablar y ser escuchados en el idioma de nuestro corazón, que es justicia lingüística. Para usted tener acceso al menú de lenguaje, puede apretar los 3 puntitos de más y allí puede tener acceso al idioma de español. Si tiene cualquier problema, lo puede poner en el chat. And we can go ahead and get started.
Great. Item 3, opening remarks by Mayor and Council. Anyone have any opening remarks? Okay. Item 4, presentations and proclamations. We are going to start with item 4.1, the proclamation recognizing the 2024 and 2025 Durango Area Youth Hockey Association 12U A team. So if I could have coaches and then maybe the players can like come and stand like up here, and then coaches can meet me by the panel and I'll read the proclamation. Okay, I'm going to read the proclamation. I'm going to say a lot of whereases, and then I'll get you guys a second to talk if you want to acknowledge anything else that I miss. Okay, this is a proclamation. 2024-2025 Durango Area Youth Hockey Association 12U A team. Whereas the DEHA 12U A team has exemplified excellence in athletics, sportsmanship, and teamwork throughout the 2024-2025 season. And whereas the team has brought immense pride to the Durango community through their unwavering dedication, perseverance, and outstanding achievements on the ice. And whereas the organization's coaches and staff have provided exceptional leadership, guidance, and mentorship, fostering not only athletic skills, but also character development and a spirit of camaraderie. And whereas the team finished with a 34-5 record, taking first place in the 2024 Albuquerque One Hockey Tournament 12UA division and winning the Western Colorado Hockey League Championship. And whereas the DEHA 12UA hockey team earned statewide recognition by qualifying for and winning the 12UA Colorado Amateur Hockey Association CAHA 2025 state championship, defeating teams from the WHCL League and larger year-round ice hockey organizations. Now, therefore, I, Mayor of the City of Durango, do hereby recognize and congratulate the 2024-2025 DEHA 12UA hockey team for their outstanding accomplishments and commend their positive impact in our community. In witness of, I set my hand on the cause seal of the City of Durango and be affixed this first day of April 2025.
I'm a head coach, Brian Capsay. I really wasn't prepared to say anything today, but I am extremely proud of these boys. They deserve everything they got with all the accomplishments that they got this year. They worked hard. We had well over 60 practices this year. We traveled pretty much every weekend this season. They never gave up. They did their best. They listened to what the coaches said. They worked hard. And like I said, they deserve everything they get. I'm really proud of you guys. Thank you to all my coaches. Thank you to all the parents. It is a big commitment to do this. Being in Durango, we live far away from a lot of these other teams that we're playing, both financially and just travel time-wise. Yeah, I'm really proud of these guys, and thank you all for having us. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Appreciate you guys. It's a great honor to be here. Hope you guys remember this, and congratulations. Let's go for it next year.
Okay, do you want a photo? Okay, so if you guys want to like cram in maybe behind them and then come. Yeah.
There, right, on 3, 2, 1. Thanks, perfect.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, of course. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Good job, Jacoby. Yeah, of course. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I'm in.
Bye, guys. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. All right, next up we have item. We'll let them clear out. Bye, Noah. See you. Okay, next up we have item 4.2, a proclamation recognizing April 2025 as the 22nd annual National Donate Life Month. Can I meet Eileen Maddox and Liam is here? Yes, okay. Yes, all of you. Oh yeah, sorry, I just had the list. Here, you can like stand. All right. Whereas this April 2025 is the 22nd annual National Donate Life Month to raise awareness of organ, eye, and tissue donation, encourage Americans to register as donors, and honor those who have saved and healed lives through the gift of donation. And whereas Colorado has led the nation with more than 2/3 of Coloradans registering to be an organ, eye, and tissue donor at the DMV, a decision that reflects deep commitment to one another and confirms that there is good inside all of us. And whereas one donor can save up to 8 lives through organ donation and save and heal more than 75 lives through tissue donation, and can help restore sight in up to 2 people through corneal transplants. And whereas in Colorado and most of Wyoming in 2024, a record 311 heroic organ donors provided 947 life-saving transplants, and 1,860 heroic tissue donors saved and healed nearly 144,000 with tissue grafts. And whereas registering gives hope back to the more than 1,300 people waiting for a life-saving organ transplant in Colorado, while compassionately celebrating donors and their families for the gift of life. Whereas organ, eye, and tissue donation would not be possible without our community and partners coming together for one united purpose, saying yes to be an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You're not just checking a box, you're saving and healing lives. Now, therefore, I, Jessica Buell, City of Durango Mayor of the State of Colorado, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2025 as National Donate Month Life. Do you want to come up here and say something? Yeah. I just want to say this holds a real special place in my heart, especially today. My aunt got a liver and kidney transplant yesterday. No, I'm not even kidding, like just yesterday. And so anyways, yes, thank you very much. Oh, did I give you 2? That's right.
Just wanted to say Liam is a 11-year survivor of a heart transplant 11 years ago. So so check your licenses, make sure you're donors, because there's a lot of people out there that need us. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Okay, you guys are going to get sick of hearing me talk. I have 2 more. 4.3, proclamation recognizing April 14th through April 18th as Arbor Week. And I'm going to meet our city arborist, Matt, up at the front. There he is. Good. All right. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and now is observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas Durango, Colorado has been recognized as Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation and desires to continue its enhancement of its urban forest. And whereas the Parks and Recreation Department of the City of Durango will assist citizens, businesses, and organizations in making Durango a more beautiful place to live and do business. Now, therefore, I, Mayor of City of Durango, do hereby proclaim the week of April 14th through April 18th to be Arbor Week. Do you want to say anything? Do we have celebration plans? Are we planting trees? Can we talk about it?
Yeah.
Real quick. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor Buell. Thank you, council, for your support. We just completed our new tree inventory and our community forestry plan, which helps us manage our urban forest. Arbor Day is the 15th of this month at Mason Park at 10 a.m. We're going to plant 5 trees, and join us if you can. Thank you very much. Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
One more. Last one, guys.
All right. 4.4, proclamation regarding Earth Month. And I'm going to meet Gail up front. I just had your name on the agenda. Oh, everybody. Okay, here we go. Sorry. Whereas in the spring of 1970, Senator Gaylord Nelson created Earth Day as a way to highlight the need to protect the air, waters, natural environment, and public health from the damages of unchecked pollution. And whereas Earth Day is recognized nationally and globally in April and will occur on Tuesday, April 22nd for the year 2025. And whereas the city of Durango will celebrate Earth Day with Earth Day Durango, the Community Foundation serving Southwest Colorado, fiscal sponsor, and the Four Corners Office of Resource Efficiency, citizens, businesses, and organizations on Saturday, April 12th, 2025, with a parade along Main Avenue and an event at Buckley Park and an electric vehicle ride and drive at the Durango Motor Company. And whereas the city of Durango is a community committed to achieving carbon neutrality, preserving our natural environment, conserving resources, maintaining our unique character, and improving quality of life for the benefit of present and future generations of residents, visitors, and neighboring communities. And whereas the city of Durango recognizes its role in empowering citizens, businesses, and organizations in our shared efforts conserving natural resources and reducing waste and pollution. Now, therefore, I, Jessica Buell, Mayor of the City of Durango, do hereby proclaim the month of April to be Earth Month.
Hi, I'm Gail Harris, and this is Jenny Hill, the Executive Director for Four Corps, and Heather Erb, who's my co-lead for the Earth Day Planning Committee. And I just have a couple of comments. First of all, I want to say Mayor Buell and City Councilors, thank you for all you do. I know it's hard work and we appreciate what you do on behalf of our city. And thank you for all the actions that the City Council has taken that recognize the importance of preserving our environment and ensuring that we leave a livable world for our children and our grandchildren. Earth Day is focused on celebrating our Earth. While we recognize the negative impacts of human-caused pollution and environmental degradation, we strive to focus on solutions to this problem. The theme this year, Our Power, Our Planet, focuses on increasing our reliance on renewable energy and recognizing that the Earth truly is our home and we need to take care of her. Thank you to the City of Durango for your commitment to utilizing natural resources in a sustainable manner and to safeguarding our surrounding natural environment for the health and well-being of our community, and for the actions that you have taken to reduce human-caused pollution, increase our reliance on renewable energy, and preserve our environment. We want you to continue to do that and do more. We need to keep taking more steps to be sustainable and to reduce our pollution. Thank you again for doing a free transit day on April 12th. We have the EV ride and drive over at Durango Motor Company. We have our Procession of the Species. We have Earth Day event, and it's also Bluegrass Meltdown. It's a perfect day to have free transit. And so we hope that'll mean less cars downtown. We also have events all month long by many organizations, lots of fun. And we hope that all of you come out on April 12th, dress up as your favorite species, and come to Buckley Park. And also check out an EV if you haven't done that over at Durango Motor Company with Four Corps. Thanks so much.
All right, next item up, we have item 5, city manager updates. Any updates?
No updates.
Great. Next up, item 6, committee, board, and liaison reports. You want to kick us off there, Councilor Woodruff?
Yes, happy to. Kind of a busy couple of weeks. I'm very fortunate that I work in the food and service, food and beverage industry, where I get to have organic one-on-one conversations with folks about the city. But or I'm at the rec center pool having those same conversations. But had a lot of good, robust dialogue as we lead into the election today. So other than that, I had my community office hours 3 Wednesdays ago. So there's a lot of conversation around a new ice arena, which I'm sure some of our friends out in the audience are also in favor of. We talked about our the city's climate and sustainability goals, and then different things around the central business district and how we can make that a little bit more robust. I also had the fortune to meet up with Sarah Tober of the Economic Development Alliance regarding the child care investment strategy and how we could potentially look down the road and how we potentially fund some of these things, and just having conversations, kind of out in the open about how we're going to address childcare in our community. And then lastly, I, along with Mayor Pro Tem Yazzie and then Mayor Buell, attended the Engage Durango Forum over Durango Mesa Park. And so a lot of good conversation around the vision of what Durango Mesa Park, what we all want it to be, and then, just a matter of how we get there. So yeah, really good couple of weeks.
Oops, thank you. All righty, so the reason why I missed council 2 weeks ago was because I had the opportunity to go to a conference. It was the National League of Cities conference, and so they had like about 3 days of trainings, and so I attended like the mayor's training. They had an Indigenous leaders training. They also had an opportunity to go lobby up at Congress. And so I took that opportunity and I asked one of our residents, Rick Cobb, to write me a letter to deliver to Congress to our congressman, Jeff Hurd. He wasn't there because that was the day they were doing the continuing resolution. But I felt like this was a really valuable experience for me to learn about what other leaders in the country, what their concerns are. And basically it's the same concerns that we have here in Durango, which is going forward, how are we going to deal with the budget cuts? And how are we going to keep our residents engaged? So I really enjoyed that. And we also had the opportunity to hear from a couple notable people, mainly Wes Moore from Maryland. He talked about how he did community building and partnerships to get the bridge rebuilt, because remember the bridge fell into the bay because of an accident. And then also we had Vice President Vance come and address us for about 15 minutes, so that was quite interesting. So moving on. And then on Tuesday the 25th, I also participated in the Haudenosaunee Days Ambassador, which is when they select their Native American representative to represent Fort Lewis College for the coming year. And that was Tuesday in the evening. And then on Thursday the 27th, which Mayor Buell was at, was Green Drinks down at 11th Street Station. So I listened to the candidates talk about how they felt about sustainability. Then I had the opportunity to network with some of the other leaders in the community. And then on Friday, the 28th, I attended the water seminar out at Ignacio Sky Casino, the same water seminar, Southwestern Water Conservation District's 41st Annual Water Seminar, Water Reimagined. And I had the opportunity to meet with several people out there that were interested in what Durango is going to do with their water going forward in the next 20 years. So I gave them what I thought. And I had the opportunity to sit by a couple people that I know, like Steve Harris. And then the best thing was that I had the opportunity to hear Marty talk about what they're doing on water sustainability with the city of Durango. So that was all good. And then on Saturday, it was a continuation of Haudenosaunee Day. So I attended the alumni breakfast, and I had the opportunity to thank Heather Shawton for being selected as the Fort Lewis College incoming new president. So we had a nice conversation. And then at 4 p.m. that afternoon, I participated in the alumni grand entry, which is really powerful because the other alumni who graduated, Native American alumni who graduated from Fort Lewis College, we all gather for breakfast and then we do the powwow. So it's all good. And that's about it.
Counselor Bosmans, did you have anything to report?
Yeah, I've been super busy speaking with residents and businesses and developers and architects on the different issues that we face in our community. It's really too much to list, but it covers a lot of the concerns we hear on a daily basis. So I think that's all I want to say as an update on this one. Thank you.
Great. Okay. I'll try to keep mine quick and I won't repeat the ones that have already been talked about. I went to the VOA shelter luncheon for they run our Southwest Safe House and our VOA community shelter. It's pretty remarkable. I went with the chief of police and our city manager, and it's pretty remarkable what they do for our community. So if you don't know, they service over 200 people in our community shelter, 100 people a year in the Safe House, and they're an amazing organization. So support them as much as you can. We had our FAB, which is our Financial Advisory Board executive meeting, where we talked about they're going to be prioritizing projects, CIP projects for the next 5 years, and the meeting structure and breaking it up, and then potentially doing some town halls in conjunction with them. And so that might be a good spot for this group that's in the back there to attend and make sure that you're keeping a pulse on and giving community feedback. Something super interesting that I did this year for the first time on March 13th, I was a part of the Citizen Complaint Review Board. So Officer or Captain, I don't know, Zane Hollaback, I don't know what he is, but Sergeant, there we go. I'm like, I don't know the name. Okay, Sergeant Zane Hollaback. He organizes. So basically, anytime our police department gets a complaint against the department, they do a full investigation on like what happened, was it warranted, and then they make a whole like case file of it. And then we bring our community together once a year, and we look at how they viewed it and what they did, and if it was correct. And then I'm there to make sure that the people that are viewing it and making sure it's correct are doing a good job. So it's like this triple check of like making sure. And the work that Sergeant Hollick, I said it right now, right? Okay, good. Start. The work that Sergeant Hollick does is remarkable, and the amount of time and resources and dedication he does to make sure that his staff or the Durango PD is doing a good job is astounding. And I just want to like commend him and the chief and just say great job. It was one of the more interesting things I've done as a counselor in 4 years, and so I really enjoyed that. I also visited the Cottonwood Rehab and Extended Care Facility and chatted with residents there, and it's a good reminder for us counselors that we don't always, it's a demographic that doesn't always come here and we don't always hear from, but the great questions, great stories. I sat and listened to someone who knew Marilyn Monroe, and it was entertaining and amazing, but also just a reminder that we do really have to keep into account that multi-generational community that we all want and we all strive for it. That's in our strategic plan. Okay, I also went to the Green Drinks, but I wanted to give a shout out to Marty Poole, our sustainability coordinator, that was also there, and he gave a presentation, and everyone at that meeting came up to me and the words were, Marty is amazing, like over and over and over. And so I feel really lucky that he's on our staff. And then I had council office hours today and got to speak with Coach Capsay, who came in to talk about a year-round ice rink. And then I also, we talked about composting with someone else. I talked with someone that's on the LPEA board about LPEA prices. And it was super interesting about how they just signed a deal that will take place next year after they're out of tri-state, that's actually going to bring their rates down. And so they'll be able to do a bunch of work that they've been like putting in power lines in the ground and some stuff that they've been missing, but then also maybe our power could potentially come down again in the future. So that's something to hold on to. And then Rick Cobb was there too. And his big thing that he wanted to talk to you is he loves the Engage Durango forums. He came to the Durango Mesa Park one. He said that he loves that he can talk to someone from IT and someone from Parks and Rec and someone from all the different departments. And so he gave kudos to that and then tried to get me to sign up for pickleball beginner lessons. And I said, when I can breathe and I have a bit more time, I will get right on that. Okay, so I think that's what I did. Fun stuff. All right. Next up, item 7, public comment on action items only. Can I get a reading of the public comment rules?
Public comment is encouraged on agenda items set for consideration and a vote by the council tonight. Public comments on items not set for consideration by the council come later in the meeting. Please begin your comments by stating the agenda item set for a vote you intend to speak on, your full name, and if you are a resident of the city of Durango. Make your comments directly to the council. Do not expect a response from the council or staff. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person, unless modified by the council. Unused time is not transferable to other speakers. Comments must be specific to the item you identified when you began your comments. Profanity, hate speech, personally derogatory remarks, speech unrelated to the item you identified, or other speech that is disruptive to the meeting will be ruled out of order by the chair, and any remaining time will be forfeited by the speaker. Exceeding the time limit infringes on the rights of others and is out of order. Only a majority vote of the council can modify time limits. Please note, you must sign up prior to the mayor calling the item on the agenda. Signing up after the item is called will result in your name not being called to speak.
All right, do we have anyone signed up?
We have 3 people signed up to speak on item 9.1. The first is Faith Hess.
Are they online, maybe?
Faith Hess.
Faith?
Hesse?
Oh,
I'm pronouncing it badly.
Great, perfect. Come on in.
It's crowded when I got here.
I know, you're good. So just say your name and if you're a city resident, and then you have 3 minutes.
Okay.
Great.
I am Faith Hess and I am a city resident. I was working for River's Edge Wellness Center up till probably close to a month ago-ish. But when we were there, I was approached in the break room by the owners because the liquor license was still not approved. And we got told, they said we were told that we weren't allowed to sell it, but that's all they specified. I said, okay, so what does that mean? I said, well, it means that we can serve it, but we're just going to give it away. And technically we're not allowed to do that, but if somebody from the city comes by, just pretend we didn't know that. So with the liquor license, I just think it's important for all those things to be up front and done the way they're supposed to be done. And that's it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
The next item signed up is Stephanie Shawcroft.
Hey.
I am Stephanie Shawcroft. I too was a employee for River's Edge Wellness Center, and their liquor license still wasn't renewed or whatever approved. And he had come in. It was me, Faith, and a couple other nail techs. And he had brought in some wine for our clients and was like, you don't see this. This is not wine. This is water. So yeah, that's my experience. Okay, thank you.
And the last person signed up is JD Sutton. That would be at the discretion of the mayor.
Go ahead and give yours, and then I can see if council will support another one.
My name is JD Sutton, and I'd just like to comment that I am the owner of River's Edge. My wife is Ashley. Deanna Brent here is our manager, and the 2 lovely ladies. We were told one of them was fired when she worked at the Woodhouse, but we wanted to give everyone a brand new chance. We tried to hire as many people from Woodhouse, regardless if they were fired, laid off, let go from the prior. That the 2 ladies were nail techs, and one had trouble and didn't show up to work, and she was let go, and I think she's a little upset. The other one, we were approached by a customer, then I'm not going to go into the background of it, but there was some drama that we didn't appreciate. And yes, we did provide free alcohol. It was my understanding that that was what we could do per the alcohol. However, there was a anonymous tip put out that we were issuing that illegally, and then the city police inspector came and let us know that that was illegal, and we immediately shut that down, and we have not served any alcohol until then, and that was in the process of us getting our liquor license. So, you know, yes, we basically we thought we were in the right, and as soon as we were told we were not in the right, we simply met code and legality, and then have not issued it since. And we've been in the process of doing our liquor license, getting our food permit, getting our building inspector permit, going through all the stuff that we're happy to appease all the rules and regulations of Durango City. So I'd just like to comment that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we did have a Deanna Brandt that signed up after the item was called.
Does council agree that it's okay if we hear from one more? Yeah, yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Deanna Brandt. I am, like JD said, I'm the manager at River's Edge, and I'm also a massage therapist. So we were under the assumption that because we could give the alcohol away, we couldn't sell it, but we could give it away. So we were giving like mimosas and things like that. Once we were told that we couldn't, or that once we had the anonymous tip turned in against us, we completely stopped. We were asked multiple times by guests and clients if we could give them alcohol, and we told them no. We just served coffee, tea, and water from that point on. So the ladies that were up before, they were employees of ours, and they were let go, and it was probably not a good time, and so that's probably why they're aggravated and coming against us. But that's all.
Thank you.
No additional people have signed up on agenda items.
All right, next up we have item 8, the consent agenda. Can I have a reading of the consent agenda?
Item 8.1 is approval of minutes. 8.1.1 is approval of minutes of the City Council regular meeting on March 4th, 2025. 8.1.2 is approval of minutes of the City Council special meeting held March 11th, 2025. 8.1.3 is approval of minutes of the City Council regular meeting on March 11th, 2025. 8.2 is final reading of ordinances with 2 items. 8.2.1, Ordinance 0-2025-18 for the Durango Motor Company annexation and initial zoning. That's at 25855 and 25871 US Highway 160 550. 8.2.2 is Ordinance 2025-19, amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 2, City Council, by amending Section 2-19, Rules of Procedure, Part B, Section 7. 8.3 is adoption of a resolution by consent, which is a resolution regarding the acceptance of the annexation petition from 32nd Street Collective, LLC, for the annexation of 364 County Road 251. There are no items under 8.4. 8.5 is a request for a public hearing for the 32nd Street Collective annexation and initial zoning. That's 364 County Road 251 to be held on May 6th. 8.6 is introduction of ordinances. 8.6.1 is an ordinance for the 32nd Street Collective annexation and initial zoning at 364 County Road 251. 8.6.2 is an ordinance conveying Lot 14 from the Durango Mesa Park Foundation to the City of Durango. 8.6.3 is an ordinance enacting a violation for parking in private parking lots or on private property. Chapter 24, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 3, Parking Administration and Regulation, Section 24-81, Parking motor vehicles on private property. 8.6.4 is an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 24, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 1, Application and Adoption of the Model Traffic Code, Section 24.2, Model Traffic Code adopted. 8.6.5 is an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 24, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 4, Penalties and Procedures. 8.6.6 is an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 16, Noise, Section 16.8, Unreasonable Noise Prohibited. 8.6.7 is an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 17, Article 8, Offenses related to weapons, Section 17-121, Firearms and other deadly weapons in public buildings prohibited. 8.7 are 2 requests for excused absences. 8.7.1 is a request for an excused absence for Mayor Pro Tem Yazzie from the March 11th, 2025 regular City Council meeting. And 8.7.2 is a request for an excused absence for Councilor Youssef from the April 15th, 2025 regular City Council meeting.
That was a long one. All right. Does anyone want to remove anything from the consent agenda?
Yes, Olivier Bosmans here. I would like to remove 8.6.5 and 8.6.7.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of the 2 items listed before.
Second?
Great. Can I get a roll call?
Counselor Woodruff,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Yazzie,
Yes.
Counselor Bosman's,
Yes.
Mayor Beal,
Yes.
Counselor Youssef.
Yes.
All right, item 9, items pulled from the consent agenda. Do I start with the first one or do I start with the ones that were pulled? Does it matter? Okay. All right, item 9.1, pulled by the city attorney, approval of the new entertainment liquor license for Rivers Edge Durango LLC, DBA Rivers Edge Wellness Center at 1521 Main Avenue.
As you heard on the public comment on agenda items, there's a little bit of a issue with this license. Ordinarily, it would appear on your consent agenda, but because the city was made aware of the alcohol being served but not charged for, we didn't want it to go down on the consent agenda without you having an opportunity to comment on it. So that's why it was pulled by my office.
Excellent, thank you. Any comments or do I have a motion?
Well, you need to get a motion on the floor.
Yeah.
If you're going to discuss anything. So you need a motion to approve the license, or you can technically make a motion to deny the license, but you need to make a motion and it needs to have a second.
I'll make a motion to approve the new entertainment liquor license for Rivers Edge Durango LLC, DBA Rivers Edge Wellness Center at 1521 Main Avenue.
Second.
All right, council discussion.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk. Being in the food and beverage industry, we have a pretty significant responsibility, not only to the constituents, to our employees, but ultimately to our community. I have an issue with not seeking clarity from the resources that you have around you to make sure that you're doing right by the community. By serving alcohol and seemingly to try to undercut the law through a perceived loophole doesn't sit right with me. You should have clarified. We have a responsibility collectively to take care of our community. In the food and beverage industry, we take a lot of responsibility around responsible alcohol service. And frankly, that was not responsible alcohol service, serving alcohol for free. I'm conflicted in this. And I don't understand why that was done. It seemed to be intentional, and I'm not here to surmise any more beyond that. But when that sort of things occurs, in my mind, it makes me wonder what else is going on. I think we're going to finish up our conversation on the dais.
Go ahead, Councilor Bosman's.
Yeah, I share Councilor Woodruff's concern, but I was going to start with the question to the city attorney. If they have violated, even though they stopped doing it, the serving of alcohol, does that impact their application process for a liquor license at the municipal level or at the state level?
Well, it affects it at the municipal level because this is their hearing and you have the ability as a council to approve it or deny it. So it would affect the municipal level first. I'm not the state liquor attorney. I would expect that this type of issue would not hit the state radar. I can give you by example that if someone has an active license and they serve to a minor, the penalty is usually a suspension of the license for some period of days, so they lose the profit from selling alcohol. And that happens quite regularly in the city, that minors are served for whatever reason, and the state will come in and sometimes suspend them for a week where they just can't serve any alcohol.
Yeah, and what is the consequence for the violations that took place and currently have stopped?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Is there any consequence that they are facing for having served alcohol without a license?
That would be up to you. You can deny the application. You could have them serve a suspension once the license is issued.
Sorry, Councilor Bosman, I think our to clarify, are you asking, is there any administrative action that can be taken for them serving alcohol without the proper licensure?
Yeah, so it has nothing to do with the application of the liquor license. If anybody in a shoe store starts handing out alcohol, what is the consequence? Is obviously they admit it. What is there anything in our code that says there's a certain consequence?
Yeah, it's a municipal misdemeanor. Serve
And
alcohol
what,
without a license.
and what is the consequence of the label that you just gave it? Is there any action, or is it like, okay, any shoe store in town can start serving alcohol until they get caught?
So the investigating officers could have issued a fine, which is punishable like every other municipal violation. It's up to 364 days, and I think it's $2,264. Why they chose not to do that, they're not here to testify about that, but that would have been the consequence. It may have been that they didn't actually see it occur, and the fact that the owners acknowledged that it was going on and promised to stop. So it's like a police officer stops somebody for going 5 miles per hour and gives them a warning instead of a ticket.
Yeah. This is a very unusual situation for us because we don't have too many liquor license applications. Do you provide a recommendation, or do you leave it completely up to council? That's for the city.
If that's for the city attorney, I wouldn't give a recommendation. It's the discretion of the council.
Okay, well, thank you for answering those questions.
Anyone else? I'm going to agree with Councillor Woodruff. I think as business owners, not just in the food and beverage industry, but as business owners in Durango, we have a responsibility to our community, to our employees, to this town, and keeping it safe. While you were given a slap on the hand, I hope that you know that potentially the next time could be much more severe and much bigger consequences. And this is a big deal. This is a privilege to have a liquor license. It's not given to anybody. And so I think it needs to be taken seriously as you move forward as a business owner in our community. All right, can I get a vote?
No.
Counselor Youssef,
Yes.
Counselor Woodruff,
No.
Counselor Bosmans,
Yes.
and Mayor Buell.
Yes. All right, now we're going to go into 8.6.5, an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 24, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 4, Penalties and Procedures. Councillor Bosmans, you pulled the item. Do I have a motion, though? Hang on. Or does he talk first, or do I have a motion first? Motion first, yeah, motion first.
I move to improve an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 24, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 4, Penalties and Procedures.
I'll second. Council discussion. Councillor Bosmans?
Yeah, I have several questions on this ordinance and the legality of it, which may result in changes to the ordinance to be introduced. Sometimes I get cut off at this point, so I'll just keep going. When I reviewed the draft ordinance, I was quite surprised on the language of jailing juveniles, and then the language on the 40-mile distance limit to a juvenile detention facility, which I believe we do not have, and that a child must be taken before a county judge, and I'm not sure how that works for a municipal judge. Even more surprising to me was to see that juveniles can be confined with adult offenders for up to 72 hours. Now, I'm not an attorney, but these things are all questionable to me, so I did some more research, starting with a juvenile detention facility, and I ended up speaking with the county and the sheriff. And besides clarifying the detention center question, we ended up finding out a discrepancy between the Colorado revised statutes, since one section had not been updated. Which we spoke about with people at the state level, and that will be updated, corrected following their process. my understanding after quite some review, and I'm not an attorney, is that there is new language in the Colorado revised statutes actually referenced in this ordinance that we're looking at that stipulates the current laws that are different from the language in the ordinance, such as a juvenile can only be 6 hours in an adult jail for processing only. It needs to be physically segregated and in no case overnight, after which only in a juvenile detention facility. I'm not an attorney, but I hope we have good legal support, knowledgeable of Colorado law, and I believe the city attorney outsources some of this, but we still need to provide oversight. If this is correct, the ordinance needs to be corrected before being introduced. If the current ordinance would be implemented and followed for juveniles, it is my understanding we would be exposed to violations with state as well as federal laws and be exposed to significant fines. So these are serious errors, I think, in this ordinance. And again, I'm not an attorney. So I will definitely not support the introduction even of this ordinance.
Did you have a question or were you just talking?
I am informing my fellow councillors on the problems we have with this ordinance, and I just got some of this information just recently, so I
couldn't prepare and send this out ahead of time for us to get information on. Is there a question that we can get clarified by our attorney, maybe that there's maybe a mix in a mess up or in what you're reading and what our attorney is suggesting? I'm confused as to what you're saying, I guess.
If you'd like me to comment, I stand by the ordinance as introduced. It was not outsourced. I mean, my office takes full responsibility for it. Mr. Councilor Bosman said he's not an attorney 4 times. He's clearly not. And sometimes when people pretend to be attorneys, they get confused about things. But certainly as an attorney, it's my job to make sure that everything is correct, which I will do before it's up for consideration. But I cannot agree that this is so flawed that it should not be introduced.
Okay, any other council?
Mr. Morgan, does this ordinance fall in line with other municipal best practices in terms of how they deal with potential underage municipal offenders?
So what's happening here is we're updating and reclassifying offenses following what the state has done. The state, and if Councilor Bosman has issues, he ought to do some more research and talk to his state legislatures, because we're not driving this train as a city. We're following what the state has mandated be done. So we're updating, we're basically scaling back some of the crimes that were municipal crimes to being non-criminal. And its entire system the state is asking the municipalities to come down and do. He's really getting into the weeds with the juvenile detention issues that he's citing. Certainly it's not our intent to put anything in place that would violate the rights of juveniles. Quite the opposite. You know, it's our intent to make sure that juveniles are properly served when they do have contact with the municipal court.
Anyone else? All right, can I get a roll call?
Councillor Bosmans?
No.
Mayor Buell?
Yes.
Councillor Woodruff?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Yazzie?
Yes.
Councillor Youssef?
Yes.
All right, item 8.6.7, an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 17, Article 8, offenses related to weapons, Section 17-121, firearms and other deadly weapons in public buildings prohibited. Can I get a motion?
I move to approve an ordinance amending in pertinent part the Durango Code of Ordinances, Chapter 17, Article 8, offenses related to weapons, Section 17-121, firearms and other deadly weapons in public buildings prohibited.
I'll second.
Council discussion. Councilor Bosmans, do you want to start?
Yeah, this is not as a complex question I have. This is the primary change is city buses to be included, and the thing that I see is that people carry knives in Colorado a lot, and officially that would be a problem in the city bus. And my question is, is this a common thing in Colorado and similar sized towns? Because if people go to work and they need a Stanley knife with them, I mean, they would have very quick violations. So it's more of a general question. This is a very typical language to have that restriction on a city bus.
Councilor
Now it's-
Bosman, this is the same ordinance that was passed about a year into my tenure where we prohibited weapons in city buildings. The definition of the weapons was very commonly used around the state of Colorado. It's very commonly used in the court systems in Colorado. It's a reasonable definition of a deadly weapon. The intent of this ordinance was to extend that not only from city buildings, but to city buses. And my understanding, weapons on city buses has been a problem in this community.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify on what you said there. To me, it's not so much the definition of a deadly weapon. It is the change to include city buses. And to me, there's a big difference of someone having to go into the city hall or into a courthouse versus someone that needs to get to work and needs to take the city bus. And I think that would impact potentially lower. And that's why my question is it common to have that restriction language for city buses? From what I hear from you, it's very common in Colorado. Is that correct?
I only work for the city of Durango, Councilor Bosmans.
All right, any other comments? Okay, can I get a roll call?
Mayor Buell,
Yes.
Counselor Youssef,
Yes.
Counselor Bosmans,
I'm going to say no.
Counselor Woodruff,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Yazzie.
Yes.
All right, moving on. Item 10, public hearings. We have no items. Item 11, resolutions. We have no items. Item 12, first consideration of ordinances. I'm going to recuse myself from this item as I am the owner of one of the subleases that is in discussion. So I will have Mayor Pro Tem Yazzie take over.
Thank you, Mayor. Alrighty, can I have a motion?
Ooh, yes, I move to approve an ordinance authorizing the city of Durango to sublease the offices located at 802 Main Avenue to Lucky Services LLC, the Board of Trustees for Fort Lewis College, and the Durango Business Improvement District.
I'll second.
Could we get a vote?
There's
Mark. Okay, Mark.
So you've had a motion and a second, so now you have discussion.
Okay, let's discuss.
Shall I start off, Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Yeah, I will support this first consideration of this ordinance, conditional on getting information and several questions answered by staff during the meeting when the final reading takes place. And that would be, and I assume staff has already done this, to see the evaluation and justification of why the city of Durango leases this complete building, only to then sublease part of it. And that includes alternatives such as to lease only the welcome center area and not the subleased areas. And the other alternative, since the city of Durango also took over the lease from Visit Durango at the other office space in another building, which now accommodates the additional employee and the offices for the relocated city manager and city attorney, along with their staff there. So the option to end that lease and instead have the office space above the welcome center used by the city manager and city attorney along with their staff. And given that, that's the first piece of information I'm looking for. The second is, given that this ordinance already addresses subleasing these areas, I assume there was an evaluation of market rate rents, which I understand are well above what the sublease rates are. Somewhere I heard the sublease covers $15 a square feet versus market rates of $20 to $25 a square feet. But I'm not certain of this, so I would like staff to provide that information. And then the last one is, I understand that Welcome Center staff, which I understand are now City of Durango employees paid for by taxpayers' monies, had brochures or pamphlets of Lucky Services, which is the one that's owned by Mayor Buell, at the Welcome Center desk. and provided reception or lobby style services to people walking in for Lucky Services. So the last question or request for information is for staff to provide information on how these extra services are being accounted for or somehow charged, and how do we assure there is no conflict of interest or perceived conflict of interest. That's the information I would be looking for on the condition of a current approval.
All righty, thank you.
Would you like me, Mayor and Council, to provide some of that historical
Yes.
perspective if possible? So first and foremost, the building in which is 800 Main, I'll use that as simplistic terms, which is where the Welcome Center is located. That has historically been rented by or leased from the city, or leased by the city from Bob Griffith for longer than I've been here. So it's been several years. Visit Durango, when we've had the contract with them to provide tourism services, they were in charge of subleasing the portion that they've leased. So Visit Durango was the one who subleased it to Lucky Services, who subleased it to Fort Lewis, who subleased it to BID. Since Visit Durango no longer exists, what this is doing is taking that portion, because Visit Durango now has been absorbed into the city, allowing the city then to sublease it because Visit Durango no longer exists. The 900 Main, which was out there, I sent an email to the city council, which I provided the Herald on December, talking about us running out of space here at City Hall. City Hall has not had any expansion in space since 1997. We are at 2025, so that's almost, is that 30 years? My math's correct on that one. And so we ran out of space. There was another assistant city attorney that needed to come on, that we needed space. So we moved to 900 Main because Visit Durango had already leased that office space and we're not using that space. So it provided us the ability to take some of that space, half of that space, for uses to allow us to have room for new employees that were hired and authorized by the council, as well as provided space for our city employees here who had been stacked upon each other, as well as allowed us to become in compliance with allowing HR to be officed by itself without being co-located with the city clerk, which normally is okay, but understanding with the HR and the confidentiality of records and people going into HR, it was pointed out that it did need to be standalone by itself. So those were the reasons in which this happened. Nothing was historically with the city in regards to this is anything new. This is really cleaning up Visit Durango being merged into the city and us taking over the leases.
And then just let me add, because I've been involved since the beginning with the specific lease here. And I think I've said this before at a meeting, but when the director of Visit Durango advertised that space for lease on Facebook, there were a few parties that were interested in renting it. They looked at it, they backed out. When Councilor Buell looked at the space, it fit her business needs. She contacted me immediately, asked me if it was a conflict. I immediately put in writing to, I forget Rachel's last name, the director of Visitor Brown. I asked her, I said, is there anyone in line for the lease? What is the rate of the lease? Did Councilor Buell exert any influence trying to get ahead of anybody in the lease? And the answer to all those questions were no. And I asked then about the rate, and she said, this is the same rate we've advertised. We believe it to be the market rate. We would rent it to anybody for this price. Councilor Buell just happens to be the only person in line willing to pay that price. As far as this stuff about services downstairs, that's just hearsay. There's no confirmation that that's ever happened. I know it's been rumored in the paper, but no one's brought to my desk, no employee of that organization has said they were asked to hand anything out for any of those businesses in there. So that's kind of just a red herring. As soon as Jessica found out that the space was available, she contacted me and asked me if it was a conflict. I went through it like I explained at the last meeting, that as long as you didn't exert an influence, as long as you're paying market value, as long as you're not getting ahead of anybody else who is in line, it's perfectly appropriate. You know, Durango's a small town. There's not a whole lot of office space available for you. If it fits and it fits your budget and it's market price, you should go ahead and do it, because you shouldn't lose the right to do anything any other citizen does just because you're serving as a counselor in the city, as long as you're not profiting from it or getting some benefit from it. And we made sure that none of those things were happening. And then, of course, I advised her to recuse herself from the vote tonight and not to participate in the discussion tonight.
It seems to me that, you know, hearing what you have said, Mr. Morgan, that, you know, it sounded like the people that were initially interested backed out. Lucky Services renting it out for the listed rental rate, no discounts, no preferential treatment. It was advertised publicly. So it seems to me that there's no conflict of interest or even a perceived conflict of interest. That's something that I think we take that charge very seriously. I think it's something that we even just talked about last meeting, if I remember correctly. It was 3 weeks now, but I do seem to recall transparency and making sure that we are adhering to a professional standard. I think is really important, and so it sounds like there is no conflict of interest nor a perceived conflict of interest. So it seems to me that whatever line of questioning is establishing that narrative seems to be inflated and potentially inaccurate, if I may say so.
And I do need to add one more thing. I mean, everything I gave you when I spoke last was just about the background about how Councilor Buell got the lease originally. When she got that lease, there was no talk of the city absorbing Visit Durango. She's been in that space for quite a while. Then the question became, well, what happens when the city merges with Visit Durango? And the simple answer to that is we're not changing anything. We're just changing the name on the lease. But when you change the name on the lease, then you have to go through an ordinance process because all leases with the city have to be done by ordinance. There's an individual in the community who's been requesting copies of a lease between the city and Councilor Buell repeatedly. He's accused me of withholding things until after the election. That's all just conspiracy theory stuff. There is no lease between the city and Councilor or Mayor Buell because there hasn't been an ordinance passed authorizing it. So her lease with Visit Durango has rolled over month to month, waiting for this to pass and then for a new lease to be signed. And the new lease terms are going to be exactly the same that they were with the other two tenants and exactly as they were with Visit Durango. So nothing's been hidden and nothing was pushed off because of the election. This is simply the ordinary process to go through for all the reasons that we've explained here tonight.
How long was the lease originally with Lucky Services prior?
I believe all of the leases are a year. One of the older ones might have been 2 years, but we're renewing all of the leases with all of the tenants in the name of the city of Durango. All the terms are the same. The draft that we've put together, I think each one of those leases increases 3% annually.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's based on the average cost of living increase. So the leases keep up with the current market rates. So I believe they're for a year.
And do you
believe
know how
they
many years
increased 3%.
Lucky Services has leased it?
Sorry?
Do you know how many years Lucky Services has leased that property?
I believe it's been about a year and a half.
Okay.
I have one follow-up question, if I may.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a specific question to the city attorney as well. 2 weeks ago, this item was on the agenda and it was tabled by you because there was some new information. Can you explain what the new information was?
That's correct. The two other entities, and I figure not remember the names, so just Lucky Services was one, but one of the other entities called and was expressed a concern that their offices were described as upstairs offices. They were not upstairs offices. The way that it was on the agenda, it said upstairs offices for all three tenants. And I didn't have a chance to look at that because I had been sick for a few days. I went back, I verified that person was actually correct. All the offices were described as upstairs offices. So we changed that to where there was no designation as upstairs or downstairs.
Oh, interesting. And that was not minor enough to be able to pass it, same as we did with the other ordinance.
Again, I think I mentioned that I didn't know how minor or major it was because I had been out of the office sick.
No, it's no problem. It's good. Thank you for clarifying.
Is there any more discussion or should we go for a vote?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Yazzie,
Yes.
Councilor Woodruff,
Yes.
and Councilor Bosmans.
Yes.
All right, now we are on item 13, public matters or public comment on city matters not scheduled for a vote tonight. Can I get a reading of the rules?
Public comment is encouraged on city-related matters even if they are not set for consideration by the council on tonight's agenda. Please begin your comments by stating your city-related topic, your full name, and if you are a resident of the city of Durango. Make your comments directly to the council. Do not expect a response from the council or staff. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person unless modified by council. Unused time is not transferable to other speakers. Comments must be specific to city matters. Profanity, hate speech, personally derogatory remarks, or other speech that is disruptive to the meeting will be ruled out of order by the chair, and any remaining time will be forfeited by the speaker. Exceeding the time limit infringes on the rights of others and is out of order. Only a majority vote of the council can modify time limits. Please note, you must sign up prior to the mayor calling the item on the agenda. Signing up after the item is called will result in your name not being called to speak.
All right. Do we have anyone signed up for?
We have 7 people signed up to speak. The first is Carolyn Woods.
Great. Carolyn. While you're walking up here, I just want to let the other counselors know all the people here, plus the people that were here earlier, are all in support of what these 3 people are going to talk about, or 4, however many people are signed up. But they're picking representatives to speak on behalf of everyone, so we're not here all night long. So we do appreciate that very much, and your presence is impactful. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'll start with I'm Carolyn Woods. I am not a member of the city of Durango. In fact, I'm a resident of Bayfield, Durango. I'm right on the border. And like many of the families in the outlying community, we rely on Durango for shopping, recreation, restaurants, and facilities. I am a figure skating parent. I think most everyone else is a hockey parent, and I'll let them talk to you about the importance of the program. I'm going to talk to you about the impact for the city. I am actually an architect designer, and I currently work for a general contractor. In the past, I have been involved in similar master plans for small cities that we're doing exercises for facilities such as this. I understand the implications and challenges for the decision for the upgrades of the existing facilities versus new facilities. And I know you guys are going to have a really hard time making everybody happy. The main questions here are, what is the ROI for the city of Durango? This area is growing in leaps and bounds, and I think these facilities impact not only the city, but our outlying areas that do depend on everything that you guys have here that we don't. I think for the community, we could greatly impact the community and with an expanded facility for other services and revenues that are not available now. We could there could be more programs for the teens, families, childcare, enhanced sports programs, retain residents, attract new residents, added opportunities for all of our visitors that come here to go to. A properly designed building and center can really become a destination for the city. And attract, like I said, attract more tourists, attract more revenue that comes into the city when you attract, as we know, bringing in more people for these can help our local small businesses, etc. I just wanted to thank you for your time, and also back to the figure skating. This Friday is we lose our ice next week. So this Friday is our end of year figure skating program. And I want to personally invite you all so you can actually see what we do for our kids. It's easier to see it than to talk about it. So I want to give you a flyer with my phone number, because if you RSVP, I can save you a seat, because those are hard to find. So if I can just give you these, and then, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
The next person signed up is Chelsea Rinch. Sorry if I butchered that.
Good evening, council members, Mayor Buell. I'm speaking on behalf of the Durango hockey community as well as the larger community of Durango and the opportunity that a year-round rink would present in multi-generationally across our community. I speak on behalf of my hockey community, but I also want to speak about other communities that would be impacted by a year-round facility as offered, and my hope is to be supported by the city of Durango. We started Durango Rink Project to generate some traction and to understand the rally we could make behind our community to bring a year-round ice, but also to generate opportunities for minority communities as well as cross-generationally. I feel that a multi-rink as well as a year-round rink would be supportive for our elderly population who may have a huge inspiration through the Olympics and want to try curling, which is not offered currently with our ice facility. I also think that, and I have data that supports how important the figure skating and how much that has grown. It's grown 1,000% with 50 skaters this year within Durango. And I think that the urgent and substantial benefits that this would provide is allowing a larger audience, and with the importance of sports, both team and individual throughout our community, it's able to really generate excitement for young people as well as older people to really find a niche in a community. Community is one of the most important things. I'm not only a member of our ice hockey community, I'm also a parent. My children go to Park. I am a resident of Bayfield, but I also work in the Durango 9R School District at Big Picture High School. At Durango Big Picture, we're all about supporting students and identifying their passions and interests. And I tell you that when you take a group of high schoolers to Chapman Hill and you go to public skate and they're allowed to feel the ice and they're allowed to like put on skates, they're allowed to feel that, a lot of them will be inspired to play hockey. And because of the lack of accessibility as well as ice time, I feel that there's a lot of challenges that could be supported by a new ice facility and by having the larger communities from Albuquerque and Denver, and to create a hub where hockey could really flourish in the Four Corners. This year I was able to participate and see 3 different events that filled the parking lot and the stands at Chapman Hill. And that was a women's event that generated almost $10,000 to support the growth of girls hockey in Durango. It was also the high school alumni game that happens over Christmas break that brings the young and old community of Durango hockey together to be supported, as well as the high school hockey game where they hosted the semifinal game, which filled the stadium and was one of the most exciting nights that was observed in hockey. And I think that that would be able to thrive with a new facility. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next is Aisy Jordan, AISY.
Icy.
Not sure how to say that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, my name is Icy Jordan. I am a resident of Durango. I am also part of the figure skating community. I have been part of Durango Figure Skating Club for about 8 years now. And like it's stated before, we started off with about 5 kids in 2021, and now we're up to 50. So it's growing every day. I also coach Learn to Skate and do private lessons as well. So I help kids get into hockey and into the figure skating program. And I know having such a little amount of time for how much we have to squeeze in with all the mites teams and day hockey and everything, that we only get 30 minutes like 3 times a week. Also, as a figure skater, our competition season, when the ice starts, it's normally between October and April. And we go to competition around December, and that's the beginning of our competition season. But normally when we compete with other towns around Colorado and even like other states, that is the end of their competition season. So we have to fit a lot of elements in, a lot of our testing in a really short amount of time. And because of how big it's been growing with all types of hockey and everything, all the beer leagues, everything like that, we don't have as much time, so we're all fighting for ice time. And yeah.
Thank you, Icy.
Thank you.
I know. After the beer league.
Next is Bojeski.
Thank you, Council, Mayor. My name is Garen Bojeski. I am a Durango resident. I just wanted to touch a little bit on the hockey rink. I wrote a paper about this actually back in 2009 at Fort Lewis. A lot of things we talked about were just economic impact of bringing more tournaments here, bringing summer camps here. I really, the dollar amount back in 09 has grown exponentially now with what hotels cost, what it costs to go out to eat, all of that. So per student, I figure about 5,000 for a week. You can do about 50 to 100 students in a week-long camp. So something to think about. Why this benefits Durango? Economic growth. Like I said, more tournaments equals more visitors, spending more money at local restaurants and businesses. Tourism and events. We could do like a Disney on Ice, concerts, film festivals. Even NHL teams could come for high altitude training. More opportunities for kids and adults, indoor soccer, lacrosse, roller sports, and then the year-round impact, full-size rink, which we don't have now, would open the door for youth and adult hockey camps, figure skating competitions, high altitude training, like I touched on, and yeah, multi-sports complex benefits that in the community. We could also bring a Fort Lewis team. We used to have a Fort Lewis club team that is now not here anymore, and would love to see that. I participated in that from 2005 to 2009, and I would love to see that again here. So that's basically all I had, and appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next person signed up to speak is Sweetie Marbury.
My name is Sweetie Marbury, and it's all about you. I am a city resident, and I didn't come to talk about the need to get water out of Lake Nighthorse to protect the city, and I didn't come to talk about the need for accessory dwelling units, making it fair and equitable. I did come to talk about Melissa Youssef. Bless her heart. That's okay. Serving 8 years as a city councilor is a blessing, and it's also a privilege, but it's a lot of hard work. And she gave up lots of time with her family. I can remember study sessions when she would rush home to cook dinner. We talked about it back in the back area. So Melissa has been there for all of us. And I appreciate her ability to listen to people and take phone calls and text messages. I appreciate as a resident that she would Zoom in when she was out of town and still participated with City Council. I appreciate her votes on City Council, helping to bring the pickleball courts to the right place. And that was important to everyone on the west side. And also, it was important not to tear up the parking lot at Smith Fields. So I'm here to say thank you, Melissa, for your 8 years as mayor and city councilor. You've been through a lot, and I can tell that the new city council will have lots to talk about with this ice skating rink. It sounds very exciting, and I look forward to the new city council. But I came to say thank you on a personal level. I did serve with Melissa, and I've watched her serve with other city councils. And it's there's a lot of reading. Maybe the public isn't aware. The Durango Herald used to publish your phone number if you were on city council, and you took a lot of phone calls at home. They don't do that anymore, Christian. So you have to get the phone number of the city councilor to be able to send those messages. And I really appreciate all the efforts and the time. And I want to thank her husband, Jim, for putting up with all of us, her fellow workers and her friends. And you have to have big shoulders to be on city council. And sometimes you do get your feelings hurt. But we all love Durango, and she loves Durango. She raised her children here, and I look forward to her future. And you get your life back.
Thanks, sweetie.
Next up is Sarah Bialek.
Sarah.
I probably said the last name poorly. Bialek. Sarah.
Is there Sarah online? Oh, she's online. I see her.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I was there earlier, but I needed to come home and give my kids dinner. Thank you, City Council members, for your service. Mayor Buell. I am Sarah Bialek. I am a Durango resident. I live in the Riverside neighborhood and therefore very close to Chapman, drive by it for just about any errand. And I can tell you it is always busy. I moved here in 2020 from the Front Range area, and I can tell you one of the big reasons is Durango, and we're so lucky here. Durango invests in its youth. We have beautiful trails, we have ways for our youth to get around and do things. We have Devo, we have all of these wonderful organizations and facilities. And Chapman has done really good work for the youth of this community, and it needs a new life. My daughter is part of the figure skating program. We just came from the Denver Invitational, which was her second competition. And one of the things that we were able to experience in the Denver metro area was the Southwest Sports Complex and their additional facilities where she practiced and got ready for her competitions. And in those facilities, not just one skate rink, but two in one practice facility. And then 10 minutes away, another facility with 3 rinks. And I realized that Durango doesn't have the same resources as Southwest Denver. However, I do think that we could pool our resources and our love for sports, our love for our youth, and our love for community centers to create this new ice rink. And I will say that from the figure skating perspective, the ice time, it's called freestyle, has become increasingly crowded and increasingly needed. If our students are going to participate in competitions, they need more time. But that time also needs to be shared across so many other huge interests that are also equally valuable. So I guess my question to the council, or my request of the council, is to deeply consider bringing a new facility with at least one ice rink that has a longer life than Chapman, and additional facilities to meet the needs of the community. I know that, gosh, it would be great to have 2 rinks. I don't know if we can afford it, but to explore that and really understand whether we could would be a real benefit. I do know that when we went for our competitions, we spent a lot of money to do that in another city, and I'd rather have people come to our city and spend that money here.
Thanks,
so
Sarah.
Thank you for your time this evening, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
The last person signed up is Maggie Conroy, who also says she is online, but I think Tom's having a hard time finding her.
Is there Megan Conroy on? If
Maggie Conroy.
Oh, Maggie Conroy. If you are, raise your hand, maybe. Okay. I don't see anyone. Thank you all for coming. I really do appreciate you being here. If you don't know me, I have spent my entire Durango life at that ice rink at Chapman Hill, either coaching or watching my boys play hockey, that exciting hockey game. My boys were on the ice. My youngest scored the game-winning overtime goal, so proud mom. There we go. Anyways, so I'm excited for future conversations on a potential ice rink. All right, moving on. Item 14, other new business. We're going to start with 14.1. I'll let everyone leave that wants to leave. Thank you for coming, and thank you for sitting through a city council meeting, you guys. Bye. Yeah, bye. Bye, Corey. See you. Bye, Ian. Bye. Bye. Good job. Bye. Thank you. Bye. Bye. Thanks. Should I do it up there? Wherever you want.
What's up to you? I just want to be Nick.
I-
Grab all stuff. It's up to
I
you.
just need my computer. If I'm
Okay,
gonna do it there. Okay, I'll bring my computer.
Might be easier for them to see you.
Okay. Stare at you. Okay.
You have to stand up, or we're gonna give you a mic. You just stand up on the dais.
So do I, clearly. I haven't memorized this one. I don't like it either. I don't like going home.
That's why I would be yes.
Okay, item 14.1. We'll read the agenda item. Recognition of Councilor Melissa Youssef's tenure on the Durango City Council. So today marks a bittersweet moment as we bid farewell to a truly exceptional public servant. For 8 years, Melissa has graced this council with her unwavering dedication, her insightful perspectives, and her remarkable ability to unite us all. 2 of those years were spent leading our city as mayor, a testament to the trust and respect she has earned from this community. I've had the privilege of serving alongside Melissa for the past 4 years, and I can say without hesitation that she has been an inspiration to me. Her effectiveness, her experience, and her boundless energy have been invaluable assets to Durango. Melissa has a unique talent for finding common ground, for being the voice of reason, and for fostering a spirit of teamwork. She gets along with everyone, and that is a rare and precious gift in public service. Her dedication extends far beyond this chambers into all aspects of the community. She's a true advocate for Durango, and her contributions will leave a lasting impact. Melissa, you've shown us what it means to lead with integrity, with compassion, and with a genuine commitment to the well-being of our city. You have been a mentor, a colleague, and a true friend to me. Your service has been a shining example of what local governance can and should be. While we will deeply miss your presence on this dais, we know that your passion for Durango will continue to drive you to make a difference in our community. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your years of dedicated service. Durango is a better place because of you, Melissa. Thank you.
On behalf of the executive leadership team, we were trying to find a photo really that captures a proud accomplishment that happened during your tenure, and especially as mayor. And I think the getting the 9R building and being able to do the key exchange was a really good photo with that. Around the border, you'll see notes from our ELT wishing you the best in your next chapter. And I do want to thank you on behalf of our staff for the support that you've always given the staff. You've allowed us to try new things. You've been supportive even when sometimes the community comes out and says that maybe we're not on the right track, but you still allowed us to have the ability to challenge and the ability to see if there's new ideas out there. And that's really what helps continue to build a culture in our organization. And I want to thank you personally for myself of being able to have somebody that I can talk to when things got tough, or even when things were great, or just even getting advice. the respect that you've shown the city manager position, as well as understanding the difference between the council and the city manager and how we respect each other's positions and roles and have been able to discuss hard issues. Sometimes they don't understand that there are hard issues that are discussed, but we do those on a one-on-one, and you're very generous with how you listen to feedback and also how you provide feedback. So on behalf of the ELT as well as myself, thank you so much for your service to the city of Durango, and thank you so much for really allowing our staff to flourish. And we have a few things for you to go for your way through, and we'll hand it over to you. Oh, please.
I have a few words. Thank you very, very much. It means a lot. I mean, maybe you need to move this so I can see everybody. It's very pretty, but I want to move it. Well, that was also very, very nice and so heartfelt. I really appreciate it. It's kind of an intense time to think of turning the chapter. But I did have a few comments that I wanted to say. It really has been a ride, not just any ride, but more like kind of a roller coaster at a county fair that maybe missed its safety inspection. I may have considered jumping off a time or two, but I stayed seated. There's been no shortage of excitement. Much of this happened before several of you youngins were even hatched. My first hardcore reality, the embezzlement, an all-time low for the city. And while I wouldn't recommend embezzlement as a team building exercise for anyone, it certainly brought clarity to what really matters. And from there we rebuilt and we came out stronger. And today we're setting precedent and winning awards, and that's a turnaround. I had the privilege of hiring not one, not two, but all three of our council appointees. We spent hours in interviews. My family eventually stopped asking when I'd be home, but we got it done. We brought in strong leaders and we built a solid foundation. Then came the pandemic. Suddenly we were leading the city through unprecedented times from our kitchens. Virtual council meetings became the norm, and honestly, that wasn't the worst. Sure, we were approving emergency measures and pop-up bump outs, but I was in sweatpants for an entire year. And then we entered what we call our legal thriller era. So many executive sessions. The only thing that got me through all that was the snacks, a steady supply of Diet Cherry Coke, Whoppers, and Twix. Between lawsuits, growth pressure, aging infrastructure, and affordability challenges, it often felt like an entire municipal season of Survivor. Only no one got voted off the island. We all just stayed. Hungry, tired, and underfunded. And of course, there was our signature council camaraderie. And by camaraderie, I mean those delightful moments of healthy friction with our ever predictable naysayer, who's probably voting no on this speech right now. And as I get through all of this, I realized I forgot about the Purple Cliffs era. Like many communities, we've seen approaches come and go, and it taught us a lot. We learned what our community needs, what doesn't work, and most importantly, how we can do better going forward. I've served with some incredible council members. Back in the day, Dick White, Sweetie Marbury, Dean Brookie. They all brought wisdom, heart, and leadership. They taught me a lot. And Sweetie, to hear your words today means a lot. You are an amazing role model. Someone who cares, dives in, participates, and continues to make a difference. Thank you for being here for our community. I look forward to continuing to work with you in the future for Durango on the sidelines. And Chris Patine. So he was my cohort. We came on at the same time. God, and we disagreed often and passionately, mostly around homelessness. But from that friction grew a mutual respect, and in the end, a real friendship. And yes, he was right more often than once, and I admitted that to him, but he already knew. To my current colleagues, we did so much. And we fumbled through just as much. New meeting formats, new microphones, you name it. But you 4 counselors, Jessica, you have the heart of a lion. I could always count on you to fight for what mattered and to give us a good laugh when we needed it. Olivier, you never met a routine consent agenda item you didn't want to pull. And I'm pretty sure you inspired the new 5-minute speaking limit. Your challenges made us better. Gilda, your steady voice of reason gave us hope, even if the microphone cut you off every 3rd word. And Dave, you stepped up with the grace of a seasoned diplomat. We hazed you by making you read all the ordinance that sounds like ancient scrolls with 10 Roman numerals, 3 subsections, and words like theretofore, which is not even in the dictionary. You moved us forward. Truly, the majority of this council accomplished so much by debating tough priorities, finding common ground, and ultimately approving budgets that move the city forward. Funding for much needed street improvements and repairs, amazing parks and recreation projects, continued focus on affordable housing and sustainability, funding for police, transportation, the library, airport, water and sewer, and the arts. They've taken off in the last 2 years and they are now a core part of Durango's vibrancy. The work often feels thankless, but I thank each of you. And just remember, for all those hours, meetings, sweat, and tears, you still get to park free downtown. And to our council appointees, Jose, your calm, thoughtful leadership and big picture vision have guided this city forward in incredible ways. You made even the most chaotic meetings feel manageable, usually with just a friendly, quiet, "Mayor, if I may." Mark Morgan, you brought years of legal expertise to the table, and then you had to translate it to a room full of well-intentioned counselors grappling with Robert's rules and trying to figure out how to turn the microphone on. You've great critical counsel when it mattered most, and you patiently reminded us at least 100 times that yes, motion must be on the table before we debate. Matt Marginson, he didn't just take over the court, he rebuilt it. New systems, new structure, and a fight to save our specialty court. Together, we protected something deeply meaningful for this community. To our amazing City of Durango staff, so many of you make a difference every day. I've had the privilege of working with incredible leaders from the City of Durango, too many to name. Your work ethic, dedication, and heart inspire me. And your patience is saint-like, and your ability to stay awake through 5-hour city council meetings, well, that's elite level of play. And back to parking. Huge shout out to the Durango Herald for shining a spotlight on the real scandal of the year, the City of Durango staff parks for free. What a missed opportunity to boost revenue and double productivity, having our staff run around the block, shoving quarters into meters every 2 hours. All jokes aside, Durango's in a great place and it feels really good. After a long journey, I feel like I leave the city in good hands. We've got momentum, incredible staff, meeting formats that mostly work, microphones that mostly function, and at least a few counselors who do truly get Robert's rules at this point. With a strong foundation and a clear vision, I have faith that future councils are set up for success. I'm excited to watch Durango continue to grow in thoughtful and healthy ways from a safe distance. Thank you for trusting me to be part of this wild, meaning, and unforgettable ride for 8 years. I did not jump off. I have the blisters and calluses to prove it, but that's part of the ride. You hold on tight. And now I will see you all off the dais. I think I finally am ready to trade the Twix and a Diet Cherry Coke for a few Mexican lagers at 11th Street. I hear it pairs well with democracy. Thank you. Thank you, God.
That was awesome.
Okay, I left my agenda. Oh, I think down there, but I think that was it. Does anyone else have anything as other new business? No? Okay, great. Adjournment, all those in favor? Aye. Great. See you next time.
Do you have some refreshments there?
Oh,
It's on out now.
oh, thank you. Okay, tears in my eyes. Seriously? Okay. You gotta send it to me.
Yes, absolutely.
I wish you were in.
Oh, it's right there.
I didn't Jim take it, come in.
No, it's okay.
Faye, can you come in? Tom, you should be in.
One, two. Thank you. Yeah, for sure.
For sure. I could roast him without it.
Oh, thank you.
Jim, you're gonna have to help me carry some stuff. Oh, that was great.
Absolutely.
Last city council meeting out with the band. Thank you, guys. That was funny. I couldn't help some of it. I was thinking, should I really say it? But then I was like, I just have to. You know what I mean? I just thought about it and I was like, should I be able to speak? But I decided